History of physical education in different countries. Physical education in Greece. In ancient Greece, PE was an integral part of the educational system, and it was considered to be as important as academic subjects such as math and philosophy. Boys and girls were both encouraged to participate in PE, which included a wide range of activities such as running, jumping, wrestling, and discus throwing. Physical fitness was also an important part of military training in ancient Greece. The tradition of physical education continued in Greece during the Byzantine Empire and the Ottoman period, with various forms of exercise and sport being practiced in schools and military training. However, it was not until the modern era that PE became a formal part of the educational system in Greece. Today, PE is a mandatory subject in Greek schools, and it is considered to be an essential component of education. Students participate in a range of physical activities, including sports, gymnastics, dance, and martial arts. In addition, there are specialized schools and programs that focus on sports and athletics, such as the National School of Athletics in Athens. Overall, physical education has played a significant role in the cultural and educational history of Greece, and it continues to be a valued and important part of the modern educational system. Physical education in Rome. In ancient Rome, PE was primarily focused on military training and preparation for war. Boys were taught to march, run, swim, and engage in various forms of combat, including boxing and wrestling. The military was a key aspect of Roman society, and physical training was seen as an important part of preparing young men for military service. In addition to military training, PE in ancient Rome also included other forms of physical activity, such as hunting, fishing, and equestrian sports. Chariot racing and gladiatorial games were also popular forms of entertainment in ancient Rome. Physical education in Germany. The history of physical education in Germany dates back to the early 19th century when Friedrich Ludwig Jahn, known as the father of gymnastics, introduced a system of physical exercise that emphasized national pride and unity. Jahn's system, called Turnen, included exercises such as jumping, climbing, and tumbling. In the following years, Turnen spread throughout Germany, and physical education became an integral part of the education system. During the 20th century, the emphasis on physical education shifted towards health and fitness, and new sports were introduced. In the early 1930s, the Nazi regime took over the education system and used physical education as a means of promoting the values of the regime. Sports were used to promote a strong and healthy population, and the Hitler Youth Organization emphasized physical fitness and military training. Physical education in Denmark. The history of physical education in Denmark dates back to the 19th century when a Danish gymnastics teacher named Niels Buch developed a new system of physical education that emphasized functional movements and natural body development. Buch's system, called the Danish gymnastics or dansk gymnastic, included exercises such as running, jumping, crawling, and climbing, as well as gymnastics and bodyweight exercises. Buch's system gained popularity throughout Denmark, and in 1924, the Danish Gymnastics Association was formed to promote the system and train physical education teachers. The association later became part of the International Federation of Physical Education, FIEP, which helped spread Buch's system throughout the world. Physical education in Sweden. The history of physical education in Sweden dates back to the early 19th century when a Swedish gymnastics teacher named Per Henrik Ling developed a system of physical exercise known as Ling gymnastics or Swedish gymnastics. Ling's system focused on the development of physical and mental strength through a series of gymnastic exercises, including stretching, balancing, and strength training. Ling's system gained popularity throughout Sweden and other parts of Europe and was eventually adopted by the Swedish military as a means of improving the health and fitness of soldiers. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, physical education in Sweden continued to evolve, with a focus on developing a healthy and strong population. The Swedish government established a system of physical education in schools, and gymnastics was made a mandatory subject for all students. Physical education in England. The history of physical education in England dates back to the ancient Greeks and Romans, who valued physical fitness and athleticism. However, it wasn't until the 19th century that physical education became a formal part of the education system in England. In the early 1800s, a British educationalist named Thomas Arnold introduced a system of physical education that emphasized the development of character and morality through sports and exercise. Arnold believed that physical education could help develop virtues such as courage, self-discipline, and teamwork. In the following years, physical education in England continued to evolve, with a focus on health and fitness, as well as social and personal development. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, team sports such as football, rugby, and cricket became popular, and physical education in schools began to focus more on competitive sports. Physical education in America. The history of physical education in America dates back to the colonial period when European settlers brought with them a tradition of physical fitness and athleticism. However, it wasn't until the 19th century that physical education became a formal part of the education system in America. Gymnastics or Swedish gymnastics was later adopted in America and became popular among physical education teachers. In the following years, physical education in America continued to evolve, with a focus on health and fitness, as well as social and personal development. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, team sports such as football, basketball, and baseball became popular, and physical education in schools began to focus more on competitive sports. Physical education in Japan. The history of physical education in Japan dates back to ancient times when martial arts and other physical activities were practiced for both practical and spiritual reasons. However, it wasn't until the Meiji period, 1868–1912, that physical education became a formal part of the education system in Japan. During this period, Japan was undergoing a period of modernization and reform, and the government saw physical education as an important way to build a strong and healthy population. The government established a system of physical education in schools, which included a variety of sports and activities such as gymnastics, calisthenics, and martial arts. In the following years, physical education in Japan continued to evolve, with a focus on promoting health and fitness, as well as discipline and teamwork. The emphasis on martial arts was also reduced, and more emphasis was placed on individual and team sports. Physical education in China. The history of physical education in China dates back thousands of years, with practices such as martial arts, qigong, and tai chi being developed for both practical and spiritual purposes. However, it wasn't until the 20th century that physical education became a formal part of the education system in China. In the early 1900s, China underwent a period of modernization and reform, and the government saw physical education as an important way to build a strong and healthy population. The government established a system of physical education in schools, which included a variety of sports and activities such as gymnastics, track and field, and traditional Chinese martial. Physical education in India. The history of physical education in India dates back to ancient times when yoga, wrestling, and other physical activities were practiced for both practical and spiritual reasons. However, it wasn't until the British colonial period, 1757–1947, that physical education became a formal part of the education system in India. During the colonial period, the British introduced a system of physical education in schools and colleges, which included a variety of sports and activities such as cricket, hockey, and athletics. The emphasis on physical education was seen as a way to produce healthy and disciplined citizens who could serve in the British military and civil service. After independence in 1947, India continued to promote physical education as an important part of the education system, with a focus on promoting health and fitness, as well as discipline and teamwork. The emphasis on traditional Indian sports and activities, such as yoga and martial arts, was also increased, and more emphasis was placed on developing indigenous sports.